The sheriff is calling it an accidental fatal shooting. The latest on what happened at this home this weekend.
The 2018 World Equestrian Games need a new home. What are the chances it could return to Lexington?
Do you use the chip or do you slide?
Millions of chip card readers are still having issues reading chips, and others are just slow. We'll take a look at what's being done to speed up the process.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We will get to those stories in just a minute, but first we have breaking news out of Woodford County. Firefighters and police are on the scene of a crash involving a semi along US 60 in Versailles.
Part of US 60 at US 62 is closed right now. Our Monique Blair is live near the intersection. Monique, have you had a chance to talk to police yet?
Well, Sam and Amber, I just spoke very quickly with Versailles police, and what they tell me is the semi-truck you see over my shoulder and the pickup truck you see, both drivers of each of those vehicles were taken to the hospital, and at this time police say their injuries are unknown. Police tell me the biggest piece of information right now they'd like to get across to the public is that this accident has caused a significant traffic backup. So police are really asking for anyone traveling from Lexington to Frankfort or Frankfort to Versailles by way of US 60 to take an alternate route. Now, US 60 bypass is closed between Frankfort Street and Midway Road. Police say this section of road will be closed for several hours. Now, an accident reconstruction team is out here right now trying to figure out exactly what happened to cause this JB Hunt tractor trailer to land on its side. And as you can see, both the truck and tractor trailer have significant damage. Versailles police are right now questioning witnesses, again, to try to figure out exactly what caused this accident. For now, I'm reporting live in Woodford County. Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. We will continue to track this breaking news alert online and on the air, coming up for you on WKYT News at 6.
They call it a terrible accident. Tonight, one man is dead after he shot himself while showing off his new gun.
It happened last night on Pea Ridge Road in Franklin County. Deputies had been called out there for a shooting. Kristen Kennedy talks to neighbors in our top story at 5:30.
The sheriff is calling what happened here Sunday night a terrible accident. A man, he says, was visiting his girlfriend and her father when he shot himself with his new pistol.
He was trying to show his girlfriend's father that he had bought a new gun. Also, he had been drinking, and as a result, he went to pull the slide back, had a magazine in it, semi-automatic weapon, so when he did, it put a round in it. The gun wound up discharging.
Several relatives of the victim's girlfriend live nearby. They told us they feel terrible about what happened, and they feel awful that the girlfriend must deal with this loss.
And you really feel sorry for her down there, and God knows she's going through it. It's just awful is all I can say, honey.
Investigators won't release the man's name just yet. They tell us that they're still working to notify next of kin.
It's just sad. Firearm safety, firearm basics, never ever handle a loaded weapon. All guns are always loaded. Rule of thumb, every time. And alcohol is just a bad mix.
Sheriff Pat Melton's deputies are still investigating, but he doesn't expect to file any charges. In Franklin County, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
The sheriff says they are working with a translator to contact the man's family in Mexico and let them know what happened.
Storms are moving across the Commonwealth right now. It's going to be a familiar sight, at least for the next week. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at that forecast. Chris?
Yeah, they get a stormy one over the next week and change, and before all is said and done, I will be shocked if we don't have some local high water issues before the week is over. We've been seeing some very heavy rains out there today, some hot spots of thunderstorms that now, as the sun gets a little low on the horizon, we should see at least this action beginning to decrease a bit over the next couple of hours. We look at what's going on into central Kentucky. Had a nice little thunderstorm rumble across Lexington a bit ago. Right now, all the action is west of Lawrenceburg into parts of the Willisburg area heading toward Harrodsburg. So Lawrenceburg, thunder, lightning coming into town, some very heavy rains, already raining here on top of Harrodsburg. Danville, we've had some showers dancing all across the region. Richmond, a lot of it has been just off to our west and north. Lexington picked up a little over a half inch of rain a couple of hours ago. That has since ended. Thunderstorms northeastern Kentucky beginning to scoot across the Ohio River. These boomers into southern and southeastern parts of the region, kicking it up a notch or two. And from the Lake Cumberland area towards Somerset, not seeing just a ton that is out there. But look at the radar in motion here. Notice how those thunderstorms into central Kentucky are working off to the east, and that little cluster will try to hold together and impact parts of the metro over the next hour and change. Guys, when I come back in a little bit, I will indeed show you why I think this is a sign of stormier times ahead.
Chris, thank you. The 2018 World Equestrian Games need a home. It was supposed to be in Quebec, but the host city there and the games are parting ways.
Bromont, Quebec did not have the financial resources or sponsor backing needed for those games. Now, Lexington actually hosted the games in 2010. New at 5:30, Sean Moody takes a look at chances Lexington has of getting the games again.
No one will officially say whether or not Kentucky is interested in trying to get the 2018 World Equestrian Games, but there are some people, including the man who was mayor the last time the World Equestrian Games were in Lexington, who say they'd love to see it happen.
Former Lexington Mayor Jim Newberry looks back on the 2010 FEI World Equestrian Games fondly.
It was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to Lexington.
So when he heard Quebec had pulled out of hosting the 2018 Games, he saw an opportunity for a repeat.
It's a chance that we've really ought to pursue.
The FEI president said, quote, "We are now looking at possible alternatives for 2018, and we're hopeful that we will be in a position to make an announcement shortly," end quote. I talked to an FEI spokesperson about the possibility that Kentucky could step in. She wrote, quote, "We have not been advised by the United States Equestrian Federation that Kentucky is interested in hosting the games in 2018, end quote. A spokesperson for the state tourism cabinet did not return a call.
It ought to be a lot easier this time around.
For the 2010 games, there was a lot of infrastructure to build. The Kentucky Horse Park added an indoor arena and an outdoor stadium. It's all still there.
The horse park ought to be ready to go.
If state and equine leaders decide they do want to host the games in 2018, Newberry says now is the time to move.
Time is short, and if we're going to make it work, we've got to start immediately and have all hands on deck.
This would not be the first time another side has had to step in to take the games after another country pulled out. Back in 1998, FEI says that Italy did a great job of hosting the games less than a year and a half after Ireland pulled out. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Now, Lexington was a finalist for the 2018 games, which were awarded to Quebec in 2014. Also today, the state announced the U.S. Equestrian Federation reached a 40-year extension to keep its headquarters at the Kentucky Horse Park.
A man who drowned over the weekend at Lake Cumberland has now been identified. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Wayne County. The coroner's office says Travis Martin of Ohio was vacationing at the lake with his family. On Saturday morning, about 1:30, Martin was walking from a houseboat to another when he slipped and fell between them. Search crews found his body a few hours later. And in Boone County, 2 people have been charged for leaving a toddler in a hot car. Florence police say someone spotted the 14-month-old in the car in a Walmart parking lot on Sunday. The child was rushed to the hospital. We do not have an update on its condition. 21-year-old Tamaj Baldemar and a teenager showed up at the car and were arrested. Both face criminal abuse charges.
Chip credit cards were created to make shopping more secure. Each transaction creates a unique code, making them almost impossible to hack. But 4 years after the first cards were introduced, many stores and many shoppers remain frustrated.
Okay. Do you use the chip or do you swipe? Swipe?
Shoppers like Ned Rhodes are still swiping the less secure magnetic strip on their credit cards because millions of the new chip readers still are not working.
It's not as simple as just buying some terminals that you can plug in and poof, everything works. There's a lot of very complicated software coding that goes on behind the scenes.
Analyst Julie Conroy says despite plenty of notice, lots of merchants waited until an industry deadline last fall to install the terminals. Now there's a bottleneck as banks sign off on each one. New rules announced last month should start bringing terminals online faster. But even when the chip readers are working, customers like Rhodes have another complaint.
Thank you. The whole process is a lot more time consuming than swiping a card.
Chip cards have to stay in the terminal while the transaction is being completed, on average a 10-second wait, according to one study. To change that, Visa is introducing a software upgrade called Quick Chip.
The consumer will be able to remove their card a lot more quickly from the terminal than waiting for the authorization to go out and come back. Insert the card, wait less than 2 seconds, and remove the card.
Quick Chip is expected in some stores this summer. Widespread use will require another wait. A new nationally representative telephone survey of 932 credit card holders commissioned by creditcards.com found that 70% of U.S. credit card holders now carry an EMV chip card. EMV stands for EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa, the three companies that originally created the standard.
Still ahead on WKYT, it's a legal battle that's been going on for years. Why machines at Kentucky Downs are causing such a commotion.
I'm Bill Bryant. The Democratic National Convention gets underway amid controversy in Philadelphia. And Kentucky's 2 U.S. Senate candidates are on the move. The bottom line is ahead.
The Democratic National Convention kicking off later today in Philadelphia.
And Kentucky's candidates for the U.S. Senate race have some trips planned for this week. Bill Bryant has the details in the bottom line.
Good evening. The Democratic National Convention is underway as delegates are set to nominate the ticket of Hillary Clinton and Virginia Senator Tim Kaine for president and vice president. The Clinton-Kaine ticket was announced over the weekend, and the two set out campaigning and appeared last night on 60 Minutes. But controversy surrounds the start of the convention. Protesters drowned out a speech by DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz this morning. She was eventually booed off the stage. Schultz is stepping down at the end of the week after hacked emails revealed the Democratic Party may have favored Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the primaries. There are 60 Kentucky delegates in Philadelphia, and we've now learned that Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes will speak at the convention tomorrow. Republican Senator Rand Paul on the move this week with several town hall meetings. As scheduled in the region, he will be in Corbin tomorrow. That's in the morning, then on to Pineville, Harlan, and Whitesburg. Wednesday, Paul starts in Pikeville and heads for Lexington, then Shelbyville before doing some Louisville area town halls on Thursday. Democrat Jim Gray will hold a major event tomorrow in Pikeville where he says he will announce a plan to help the economy in coal country. Former Governor Paul Patton will be among those joining Gray. Both Gray and Paul have now confirmed they will be speaking at the Fancy Farm picnic in western Kentucky August 6th. Kentucky Justice Secretary John Tilley says Kentucky's drug problem is a scourge with more than 1,400 overdose deaths in the last year. But he said on Kentucky Newsmakers that the Bluegrass State is a relatively safe place to live and pointed out the crime rate has been falling for decades.
You know, I've been trying to let people know that for years, that crime is actually down. In Kentucky, it's been flat and dropping slightly for years since the mid-1970s. We're one of the safest 5 states in the country, in Kentucky.
You can see our full interview with Secretary Tilley on demand on WKYT's YouTube channel. The CBS Evening News will originate from the Democratic Convention. There will be prime time coverage tonight at 10. And the latest CBS News poll shows the presidential race tied between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
The 6-year legal battle over instant horse racing in Kentucky continues after a hearing this morning in Franklin Circuit Court.
Today, the focus was on the Encore gaming machines at Kentucky Downs in Simpson County. The machines show computer-generated reenactments of previously run horse races. The Kentucky Supreme Court has said a video of a horse race is still considered a horse race and can therefore be bet on. The Family Foundation argues a simulation, or cartoon as they call it, does not classify as a horse race.
Well, I think today we were trying to make the case that you know, words have meaning. We're now in the Alice in Wonderland phase of this case where words have no meaning and reality is turned upside down if we're going to say that a cartoon of a horse race is a horse race.
And we reached out to attorneys on the other side, but they denied our request for comment. A tentative trial date has been set for September 6th.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
A little bumpy out there this afternoon with showers and some thunderstorms on the move. Those storms, get used to them. They're going to be around on and off for the next several days. If anything, I think later this week, really going to ramp it up a notch or 10. Let's get into what's going on right now. Defender Radar Network with those showers and storms that are located into parts of central and now southern parts of the region. Those storms coming together from the Lexington area and north earlier. Now we're focusing on some action that is dwindling a little bit here north of the Bluegrass Parkway, heading into sections of Anderson County, but it is ramping up a little bit to the south of the BG. Folks around Harrodsburg back into Washington, Marion counties picking up on some heavy rains right on top of the Harrodsburg area. Lexington Metro, we're okay for now. We had some earlier thunderstorms that put down a quick 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. We'll see if this stuff can hold together. A lot of that will dry up before it gets into central Kentucky. Thunderstorms around Fleming and Rowan counties earlier, now crossing into the Buckeye State of Ohio. Thunderstorms around Harlan, into Hyden, and across parts of Laurel and the Manchester area of Clay County, getting in on some of that stuff. And then look at the spotty nature into southern Kentucky. Certainly not as widespread as what we've been dealing with to the north. And what you see now is likely what you're going to be seeing tomorrow. Why? Because we've got a front that has pushed its way into the region now. It is putting on the brakes. You know what that means? That means it's the same old type of a deal over the next couple of days. And then we may actually get a storm system that develops in the plains and rolls right on top of the Ohio Valley later this week in something that is a pattern that doesn't look a whole lot like summer. A few storms around tomorrow. Then again on Wednesday, any storm can have some heavier downpours. Thursday, watch Thursday. Storms are likely then. I think that's the best chance for some widespread, very heavy rains. Hour by hour forecast for the evening. Sun sets, a lot of those storms begin to die out. Sun rises, those storms continue to fire up, especially into the heart of tomorrow afternoon. Similar to today, we're going to start the day mainly dry, steamy. We'll make a run at 90, then all of a sudden a thunderstorm or two will begin to go up. We go into Wednesday. Let's do it all over again, shall we? Thunderstorms around noon, kicking into high gear into the afternoon. If you get under a boomer, your temperature is going to come down a little bit. But it is Thursday that we will see more widespread showers and thunderstorms, and that will be the day that I think we have the best chance of getting in on some high water issues. This is a pattern that when I look at it is just saying to me that, yes, I can see some flash flood events taking place over the next week. It'll be on a small scale, a little grander scale. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, until then, it's just nice to get a little bit of relief and a break.
And you notice that forecast, it will look and feel a lot better. But again, it comes with a stormy price.
Chris, thank you.
Live look at Lexington rush hour traffic. A couple of problems, two on the circle. One's on the outer loop near Nicholasville Road, another one on the inner loop at Old Frankfort Pike. And then in Versailles, US 60 shut down their Midway Road because of a collision. Police been working that the past few minutes. And 27 into Garrett County from Nicholasville is also backing up because of an injury crash near Camp Nelson. Drive times this afternoon, of course, those wrecks will have an impact in certain areas. It looks like north side outbound toward Paris Pike, we're okay. And into Scott County on 75, it's a straight shot. Now back to you in the studio.
Coach Mark Stoops likes his team's enthusiasm.
Well, Stoops was talking about that this morning. We'll hear what he had to say on KSR. And DeMarcus Cousins, so far impressive for Team USA. His role is different from what he does in the NBA. Stay with us. That's next in sports. Coach Mark Stoops has more of the talking season coming up this week. He will speak to the Greater Louisville alumni Thursday and then the annual UK kickoff banquet Friday. This year it will be held at Commonwealth Stadium. Stoops was talking this morning on Kentucky Sports Radio. Now the coach's time with the players is limited during the summer, but he said he can see the enthusiasm.
It's so long, it's so monotonous, it's so hot throughout the summer, but their focus, their attention to detail is there. They're actually trying to put the fine strokes on things, and that's what it takes. We've been too broad stroke. We've had to change so much and get them in shape and get them bigger, get them stronger, get them mentally and physically to the point where they could handle and endure a tough schedule. And now we got to put the fine strokes on things, and you can see them doing it at a very early time, and that's what I'm excited about.
Kentucky announcing its opponent today for the Women's SEC Big 12 Challenge, and it's a school that Matthew Mitchell's team is familiar with. The Wildcats will host the Oklahoma Sooners on the 1st of December. The two teams met in the second round of the NCAA tournament last season in Lexington when UK beat OU to earn a berth into the Sweet 16. Both teams finished the season ranked in the final coaches poll. USA basketball has been dominant through its first two exhibition games ahead of the Rio Olympics, and so has DeMarcus Cousins. Cuz had a double-double in Friday night's game against Argentina. Last night against China, Boogie scored 12 points, pulled down 7 rebounds. Unlike in Sacramento, where all the pressure is on him to score, the role with Team USA is different.
A lot easier. But, I mean, our roles change. Everybody roles change. But I think here we pay attention to a lot more, I mean, the smaller details, which we don't usually do in our regular season because our responsibility is much bigger. But it's a lot easier here. It's more free flowing, but it's the same objective, just come out and win.
And the NFL says it has found no credible evidence that Peyton Manning was provided with HGH or other prohibited substances as alleged in a documentary by Al Jazeera America last fall. The league said Manning and his wife were fully cooperative in the 7-month-long investigation, providing interviews and access to all records sought by investigators. Manning vehemently denied the allegations when they were made. Manning retired from the NFL a month after Denver's win in Super Bowl 50. In the next half hour, 27 teams in 27 days, Mercer County. We'll be right back.